remember the first time I really got exposed to the orphan situation overseas. I was studying abroad in Lithuania, and a friend of mine asked if I wanted to go with her to volunteer in the baby hospital. And when we got there, the nurses just left us in this room full of toddlers. And through the course of the time there, I really started to see the reality that these kids were growing up in, and just how institutionalized it was, and how difficult it was for them to really experience love. And those kids just really left an imprint on my heart. And I ended up going back overseas to Romania the following summer and spent time there in one of their baby hospitals where they take in the children with disabilities. And seeing how most of them were just left in cribs. There would be 7-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and you would think that they were just toddlers, maybe 2 or 3, but they were just waiting for them to die. Basically, they weren't even viewed by the culture around them as having any hope or any future. And it just, my heart just continued to break. And I was just seeing a need for us to do something, and realizing just how much of that is going on in the world. Lived in Guatemala for a while, and was just seeing much of the same thing, and just continuously getting exposed to how these kids, if they never experience a tangible form of love, never know what it feels like to grow up in this nurturing environment, what that's going to do to them for the rest of their lives. And how few hands there actually are, where so many of these kids are in situations where there's 50 to 100 of them and 1 or 2 caregivers. And it's just mind-boggling, because you see how many of us there are and just how blessed we really are, and how much we could actually do to have a positive impact on their lives, and just change their outlook. And so I started really just looking into statistics and facts about what happens to a lot of those kids, and it's hard, because I feel like I see brokenness all around me. Like, I just see there's so many people in so many different places who have that kind of need. And I'm the kind of person who I wish I could just save everybody. But I just have come to a place where I just really want to do what I can to influence the people right around me. Because if I can have a positive impact and help even 15 kids experience that real love and what it means to just grow up in that kind of environment, those kids can grow up to influence the community that they live in. And that's really where you start to see change happen, and where you start to see just transformation and communities and lives transformed. So I just really started moving forward, trying to go really wherever it was that I felt like God was calling me. And it just has really become my desire to see the least of these, and to really be exposed to the real world. I don't want to be sheltered anymore, and I ended up spending time in Moldova. The first time I went there was actually in January, when they had no heat and no running water. But met this amazing community of people that just had this vision to really raise up a church that was transforming the world that they lived in. They were taking in orphans, doing a lot of anti-trafficking work, and talked to the pastor there, and he was saying, you know, if everybody, even just in the United States alone, who said that they were a Christian, really lived like they believed what they said, they believed the world would change. And that just hit me, and because I remember just praying that God would break my heart with what broke his, and was really expecting to get a further just like revelation in the orphan care situation, and to be broken for those kids, for that community, just for the desperate need, and was really shocked when I was more breaking for us back in the States, and just I guess our ignorance about what was going on, and how little we oftentimes do because we don't feel like we can do everything. And so that really started to shape kind of the vision that God was giving me, the passion that he was giving me. And I went back to Moldova for the summer, and we were just seeing that this community was just falling apart because they were in a drought, and the vision, the ministry was starting to just crumble. And it was just so challenging for them to really acquire the resources they needed, because these people had this amazing vision, this amazing passion, these hearts, and they wanted to do things to shape their community, but they could hardly keep their families fed. And so they were caught in this spot where they were struggling, and I realized I wanted to do something about that, because I keep encountering people with those passions, those visions, and want to help empower them to just carry out their dreams and just empower them to really have a future.